My name is Jerome Montgomery, and I have the honor of serving as the Executive Director of Project Vita. Toy With Me is our monthly live and live streaming event where we discuss and explore ways of creating a spicier, safer sexual experience through education on the use of adult toys, as well as an exploration of kink and fetish. Here at Toy With Me, we promote sex positivity and embrace all gender-loving communities. Toy With Me events are sponsored and produced by Project Vita, a nonprofit organization located on the southwest side of Chicago, where we provide a host of low-cost or free services to the community, including behavioral health services, case management services, food pantry services, acupuncture and massage, as well as rental and utility assistance. Once again, we would like to show you how grateful we are by joining us tonight. We encourage you or welcome you to just sit back and enjoy, or join us in the conversation by dropping your questions or comments into the chat, and one of the individuals on screen will be happy to answer your questions. At this time, I would like to ask you to join me in welcoming the gentlemen of Onyx Midwest.
Good evening, y'all. This is Legendary Onyx, and I am here. Child, y'all pray for me. I'm here with Sir Achilles, otherwise known as the Variant. That's what I'm gonna call you today. And we're gonna get started. So before we get started, we're gonna do a whole little, since this is Super Football Sunday.
Okay.
We're gonna do a quick 2-minute drill. That ain't gonna be 2 minutes. Just follow me. So rapid fire questions. First question: what brought you to Kink?
Long answer or short answer?
It's you. Short answer.
Okay. Things that I felt, things that I thought, things that I saw that allowed my little dicklet to vibrate. Going back as far as the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then in high school, finally putting some research behind it. And going into adulthood, finally having an avenue to act on it. Yeah, that's what brought me to Kink.
What would you change about your journey?
Absolutely nothing. And the reason I say absolutely nothing, because I've had good times in Kink, I've had bad times in Kink. I've had moments that made me question my very existence in the Kink community. And ultimately, it allowed me to learn and gain a lot of wisdom and be able to help others navigate in spaces where I didn't necessarily have it. I guess what it does is, things that I learned gave me an opportunity to just become a better teacher, as well as be a better student from those who have an availability, and have been where I was.
I know you pretty well. Outside of food, what is your favorite pastime?
Thinking of places to eat. No, but seriously, I enjoy music. I enjoy time with my children. I enjoy art. I enjoy cars. I enjoy NASCAR, of all things.
Shut your mouth. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I enjoy NASCAR. Um, I like I like Olympic track and field. I enjoy rugby. I'm up at 4 in the morning watching rugby.
You don't have no life.
I
Gotcha.
don't.
And last question. Um, if you were to take a remote and rewind to a place in your life within the last 50 years of your life, what would a time you would go back and relive?
Okay. There was a oh man. There was a time. I want to say it was 2016, January of 2016. Since coming into the leather community, I had never gone on a leather run by myself. Never before. January of 2016, MAL, Mid Atlantic Leather, for those unfamiliar. I dressed damn near full cow, got on Southwest, flew into BWI, took the train into town, and had one of the most amazing weekends that I could ever remember. I had friends that came into town to meet. I was in the Leather and Gear show that Mid Atlantic hosts in that event. I just had so much fun, and the sheer volume of people. It was one of the first experiences that I had where it wasn't as much space, and it was just like literally wall to wall people. An hour wait to get on the elevator, but even the lines in the lobby were an adventure. Um, Going to eat and fellowshipping with some of the brothers that I had never met before, because at the time I was fairly new to Onyx. It was just amazing. It was amazing. A lot of the friendships that I have, even to this day, started that weekend. So, yeah.
So since I'm gonna interrupt you real quick,
Okay.
because I know you probably wasn't done.
I was. Go ahead.
My next question to you is, what is a leather run? Because you did mention leather run. What is that for the people at home?
Okay.
They don't know what that is.
A leather run is it's what we call a weekend event, a conference, a knitting convention.
Y'all be knitting.
It's yeah, we get together and we fuse and create bonds. Um,
I like the way you.
it's a boatload of colloquialisms that just simply dictate a fun weekend of revelry, debauchery, and safe, sane, and consensual play.
Say that again. The last part.
Safe, sane, and consensual play.
And what is that?
Safe, sane, and consensual play is one of the de facto backbones of the community. And with safe, sane, and consensual play, what it dictates is you're of sound mind and body with the decisions that you're making. Your practice in safety, with an understanding that things happen. However, we try our best to shoot for the accuracy of as much of a safe scene as possible. And the biggest thing, in my opinion, is consensual, and in which we make sure that we have permissions to do what we're going to do, both as a dominant and a submissive, because that's paramount. Um, I'm going to go a little deeper on that one. It's paramount because what we have to remember is there's a high level of vulnerability that goes into play, and having said that, being able to ensure that everything that you're going to do is well understood, so there's no surprises, you don't shock anyone, and it turns into a traumatic experience.
Gotcha. So since we're talking about kinks,
Okay.
I'll share some of mine. But what are some of your kinks?
Oh God. Uh, I have a laundry list, so I'll keep
So
it short.
so I need you.
I'll keep it short.
So top three.
My top three would have to be uh, spanking and flogging, bondage play. Oh man,
Give me one more because I know you got a long list.
I do. Anal play.
Oh, okay. Um, Let me see. If I could think about my top, I would say for me, um, sensory play. But I believe that sensory play is partly because of me being a neurodivergent, and we'll get to that another time in another land. Um, Wax play,
Okay.
um, but I believe that it's also because I love the warmness
Hmm.
and
It's like a hug.
I would say flogging. Um, the very first time I was flogged, I fell asleep and started snoring.
Hmm.
So it was about the cadence
Mm.
of the flogging. It it just it, for my ears it was like, oh, this is a nice rhythm. Um so we are here to talk about mental wellness. I call it mental wellness. Some people call it illness. I don't call it illness because in my mind, um, if you know what you're dealing with, you can be well.
Yes.
So, what are some of your diagnoses? How do you maneuver through life with them?
Okay. I have ADHD. Um, in which I don't process, or my brain doesn't process pleasure as the normal brain does. That's another topic. Uh, how I process it. Um, okay, so before the diagnosis, I often describe myself to new people as being rather just simply hot or cold, that there wasn't an in between. And I didn't understand that I was truly self diagnosing a truth that I would come to understand later on in life. Um, upon upon the diagnosis, what I started to do is I use my words more than I use emotion. Um, and I use my words more than I use emotion because of the negative emphasis that emotion sometimes allows when mixed with words. Excuse me. And not having the availability to be heard at times as well. Um, it changes how you communicate. Now, this might go
low berry white voice.
So guys, just a heads up. We're live. Okay, we're back live.
And we back, y'all. Technology is wonderful, but we're gonna just hit a little rewind. So you were saying something that was really smart, but let's hit rewind. So how do you? Let's ask the question. You said that you were diagnosed with ADHD.
Yes.
How do you? Not just how do you maneuver, but how does your family deal with
Okay.
your family and your village? Because
Okay.
we all know you
Yes.
live by a village.
Oh man. So immediately there is my significant other and the children. Um, the children are a soft spot for me. That's a literal piece. For some reason, I could understand them, their comings, their goings, their trials, their tribulations, the emotions, and all of that. And I think it's because I understand they still have a little bit of innocence left, despite being my spawns. Yeah, that's neither here nor there. No, but seriously, the children bring a lot of peace because even when they make mistakes, I could handle it with a little more grace than I can with adults, which is, I think that happens with a lot of us, but it's not the point that I'm getting at. The children are nice. With my significant other, it's been a test, it's been a trial, but we have a better understanding, and I think we have a better understanding because one of the things that we do in our community is kind of
What community? Because we were talking about kink.
okay.
Are you talking about the kink community? Are you talking about being a person of color? Which committee?
I'm talking about being a person of color now.
Okay.
Because yeah, the conversation kind of shifted gears to family, and I guess I don't have the most traditional family as the average guest on Toy with Me, and that's fine too. Nevertheless, with my significant other, she sometimes handles it with grace. She sometimes handles it with distaste, and oftentimes it's met with a little frustration, but all in all, it's love because we have an understanding. As I was preluding to, what happens is we jump off this really funny cliff of chasing love despite however we're trying to get it. And sometimes we make families that we're not often prepared to take care of, which that's a whole boatload of other conversations and statistics that we may not have the time for today, but
We don't.
nevertheless, we decided to find the thing that was keeping us from being proper adults for the children. That meant therapy individually as well as couples, as well as family. That meant finding a space to get to the foundation of the traumas that led to some of our decision makings, both individually and as a unit. And so mental health and mental wellness is what keeps us together.
Gotcha. I guess if I looked at myself, I grew up very sheltered,
Okay.
very religious. I was what they call a rainbow baby. My parents, when I say religious, my parents had 4 miscarriages before I was born. And my mother and father prayed, and the pastor prayed, and then 9 months later, hey y'all. But I think because of all of that, they were very that's part of the reason why they sheltered me. So like little idiosyncrasies that I had as a kid, they didn't understand. as I start doing, as I heard someone say, me search instead of research, I realized that all the diagnoses I got as an adult made more sense as a, I mean, they made more sense as a kid. So like I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, agoraphobia, PTSD, and bipolar 2. And so for me, it wasn't until I will be honest, got into Kink and created my own village outside of my family, did I find people who accepted me. And I'm not just talking about members of Onyx, but just members of, I call it the rainbow community. It made me understand myself more. Let's run the. Oh, shut your mouth. So y'all see this, baby? This is a beautiful toy box. What I need you to do, scan your phone for the QR code. And this has all the different things that you need to start off your little set. I was blessed before the pandemic to come into Project Vita, and I got a lot of different things that I use in my arsenal. Some of them I gifted to others because I was like, yep, I'm not ever using that. But what you do is you scan it or you use the link. You get yourself tested. Now, I tell people all the time, even if you know your status, there's a whole bunch of other STIs that you could get yourself tested for. You get yourself tested, and once you send off, you get this pretty box. Get tested, get the box. Real simple. I'm telling you, it is worth it, and it's pretty. It got rope, it got a stroker, and if you don't know what to do, there's a friend called Google. It'll help you out. I'm just telling you.
Get the box.
Get the box. You got a good box will help you. That'll preach it. So we got the video.
You've alluded to it, but what exactly happened to you at Princeton?
Me and this girl named Sasha, we were new RAs in the same building, right? And we got close really fast. And I felt like I could be honest with her, right? You know, we're new friends, but good friends. Anyway, I get this job interview, and I'm really excited about it, you know. I call my parents, I get a little money from them, and I scrounge up a little money. I buy a suit because I need to look presentable. I go buy the suit, then I go to the computer lab.
What did you get? What kind of suit?
Navy blue slacks and blazer with leather loafers.
Okay, so you were styling.
I was styling. It was like super nice. I looked good, right? So I'm at the computer lab and my crush comes in and she asked me if I want to go to this party in Philly with her. She wants me to go. And I'm like, cool. Sasha is a couple of stalls down. She hears this and offers to take my suit, stash it in her room, and I can just go straight from there. I'm like, cool, thank you, you know. I go to the party. I come back, I text her to get the suit. No response. I text her again. No response. I text her a third time. Same thing.
Did something happen?
I don't think so. It was like she was ducking me. So it's hours before the interview,
right? And
I'm freaking out. So I'm texting her again. I'm like, hey, where's the suit? I really need the suit. And she just writes back, sorry, not around.
So what did you do?
Man, I went downstairs. I knocked on her door. No one picked up. You know, so I went in there with my master key and I got my suit and I left. Big mistake. She was like furious. Like, she told the dean and it became like a real thing. He's coming back saying like, oh, this is a suspension. And then it turns into expulsion.
So I'm guessing Sasha wasn't black.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
They started using rapist language for what I did.
Rapist language?
Intruder, personal assault, attack on privacy. Like, I was scared. You know, I apologized, but it was like no one was listening. It's like no one cared.
What do you think the perception was?
That this big black gorilla came into this white girl's room and just destroyed shit. I don't know. You know, as an RA, they make you feel like you have some sort of agency, but then you turn around and then all of a sudden you're OJ. It's like, why give me the master key if you didn't trust me to use it?
How'd that make you feel?
Angry. Everybody on campus is talking about me. I'm like one of 12 black kids. You know, I already felt alone.
What else did you feel?
Hurt,
Why?
I guess.
Why?
Because we're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be friends. She never even asked why. Why I did what I did.
You trusted Sasha.
Yeah,
You were hurt by someone you trusted.
yeah.
So short version, because I know your facial expressions. You're probably thinking, why? Why did we show this clip? I'm glad you asked. So the thing is, in our community, the thing that we don't always think about, especially being a person of color, is the importance of therapy. Those were some issues that he had from years ago that it took him 10, 20 years to bring up. A lot of times we don't think about, oh, well, maybe we should talk to someone. Look, I always have been especially after on my laundry list of wellness issues, of making sure we talk about in our communities, go get help, go get therapy. Find somebody to talk to that can get you to the right people. And so that was really just the gist of the reason, because we don't always, we like to, I always attribute it to, and this gonna sound ignorant, I know you're gonna laugh, I always attribute it to the fart in the elevator. We hold it in, and then when we let it out, it stinks, and everyone in the room can smell it. And if we take care of ourselves, the world won't stink. That's just my crazy mind. But back to kink. And how do you utilize your mental wellness, your diagnosis, and how does it help you maneuver through the kink world?
Well, I guess I can refer to them as my superpowers, so to speak. With ADHD, I hyper-focus a lot. I'm very detail-orientated. I can over-communicate, I can almost over-explain things. And there is a space in the kink community, those things hold a lot of weight. Because when you could ensure someone that what you're about to do to them is understood by you and you have an availability to give them an understanding, it makes you feel safe. Hyper-focusing on people's breathing patterns, they're in the space of spanking, seeing the different reactions of the body, the skin, Just simply how the body reacts.
Okay. Um, so my next question is, let's talk about setting up a scene. Um, when it comes to setting up the scene, two things: um, getting in headspace and aftercare. What's the importance of aftercare?
Oh, the importance of aftercare is bringing the submissive back into the real world. Um, Oftentimes, when a scene goes on, the person goes into subspace. Subspace is this euphoric state where everything is all right, despite outwardly what's actually happening to you. It's a space of comfort, it's a euphoria. And having an availability to bring a person out of that euphoric state back into reality is paramount, as in that euphoric state, you're often in a space of high vulnerability and your willingness is high. Making sure you bring a person back ensures that you allow their mind to safely return, so that they afterwards, don't end up in some really rough shit.
Okay. Well, what about when it comes to headspace for the Dom? Short answer. Please and thank you.
I like to say that as a dominant, I get my rewards on the back end. Meaning
Meaning?
that I can't necessarily, uh, I get horned up insane, and I can't necessarily pull my junk out and play with it. For some, that may enhance the scene. For some, that will ruin the scene. I like to keep the scenes as we discuss, despite how I feel, and kind of later on, I'll have a secondary thought, and me and my partner will discuss it, and then we'll discuss it again. And so there's that.
Oh, okay.
Scene.
Say less. um, so since we're talking about that, what are some things you do to pull someone back or take them out of headspace?
For starters, that kind of depends on the scene. For the sake of context, spanking. Um, I use it depends on the degree that we've gone to. For some of the higher degrees of play, I like to use a balm that I've created with peppermint and arnica. It both relieves swelling and any type of bruising.
Okay. Um, so let's talk about just just a tip.
Okay.
So since we talking about spanking, I see you got some nice little tools. Let's explain and how, if we're going to talk about fuchsia and the hanky code and spanking, what you got up there?
Okay. A few of the things that I have a wooden paddle. Paddles are kind of one of the most common objects to spank with outside of your hand in kink play. Excuse me. They're mostly made of wood, usually, um, but at times they can be made of other materials. This one in particular is made of an epoxy resin.
In English, what's a epoxy?
It's urethane.
Oh,
Urethane starts as a liquid chemical composition, and when you mix two parts together, and
you went
it
off.
creates science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, science. uh, I have a riding crop.
Now, where would you find a riding crop?
Traditionally, it's used in horse in the equestrian community.
Equestrian?
Horses.
Riding horses.
Riding
Okay.
horses. It's
Listen,
used to it's a
this is
motivational
101,
tool.
and some people don't know them big words.
It's a motivational tool for horses. Traditionally.
Okay. What else?
This is one of my favorites. It's a leather flogger. Floggers, they can be made of leather, suede. I've seen them in chainmail and anything in between. The intensity with floggers, it's a little different in my opinion than the other instruments because you have to keep it in synchronization to ensure that you're not kind of making an ass of yourself with it.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
But you know what we got right here? We got this toy box. Let me tell you.
It's the box again. Gotta love the box.
You know what? Just like a good bottom, you always need a good box.
Well, this box does have nice stuff.
So it got some books. It has some rope.
Is that a cock ring?
It's a cock ring.
That is a nice cock ring.
It's got the good lube, not the. This ain't the kind you use at you find at Well, you can find this at Walgreens, but this not the cheap stuff.
And
This
it has
the
a
$20 ones.
It has a lollipop, and some can see that as aftercare.
If it's done right.
That's what he
Got
said.
a stroker, got some candy. This is a nice little starter toy box. All you have to do is a couple of things. You go ahead, scan it, use the link. You get tested. They'll mail you your test kit. You mail it back, and ta-da! It happens. You're good. You don't want to believe me? There's a whole video. Why don't you watch the video, and it'll give you through the steps of how to get the toy box. All right, we'll be back.
Hey, Michelle, what are you doing tonight?
Hey Eric, Project BDAC is doing a Toy With Me party on Zoom.
Nice. What's that all about?
They focused on this and sex positive topics, and they're going to be offering free home HIV testing kits to Sinai Infectious Disease Center.
HIV home test kits. How does that work?
So they're going to share a link in the chat where you can sign up to get your home test kit.
Okay, I've been wanting to get tested, but I didn't really want to leave the house.
I feel you. You just give them your contact info, and someone from Sinai will contact you to send out your free home HIV testing kits. They'll put it in an unmarked box to your mailbox.
Okay, then I do the test by myself? It sounds kind of difficult.
It's not that hard. Once you get the test kit, it's pretty easy. Just follow the step-by-step directions, and you'll get your results in about 20 minutes. Let Sinai know that you took the test and what your results were, and you can even call them and they'll walk you through it. Sinai will then contact Project Vita to let them know that you took the test, and they'll send you out a complimentary gift bag.
Can they also help me access PrEP and any other sexual health needs?
Yeah, of course. Sinai partner up with Project Vita to provide sexual health education, prevention tools, and medical treatment to the community. And they have lots of services too.
Sounds awesome. I definitely want to go and get tested at home, and I'll do the Toy With Me party too.
All right, and we're back. Gonna do just a quick demonstration with some of the toys that I presented earlier. For starters, you wanna feel and ensure that the spots that you are about to strike are some of the meatier portions, as you don't want to cause any bruising. Another good point is ensuring a proper warm-up. Warming up in just like your car, you don't want to step on the gas and ruin the engine. Before we started, I ensured that I had the consent of the submissive and sane. How do you feel? Some of the spots that you don't spank, you don't beat, the bone, joints, because you can really hurt someone. It's not safe, and it's definitely not sane. What I'm doing is feeling for heat as you strike the body over and over. It gets hot. If it gets too hot, it begins to hurt and it turns into something else. So always make sure that you're monitoring to ensure that you're not overheating and you're not moving too fast. You're checking on the submissive, asking questions, open communication at all times. It's truly the best because it ensures that nobody gets hurt and we can all enjoy. You good? Okay. Not getting flashbacks, are you? Step back just a bit. A flanger can be thrown like a whip. However, I guess the most conventional format is the figure eight or the infinity sign, because what it allows you to do is create an even motion and balance. How are you? For some, a flogging feels similar to a baby being cradled and paddled and patted. I'm sorry, we don't paddle babies. Being patted on the back. It creates a warmth, a bit of sensuality, a bit of safety, some vulnerability mixed in, and some security. You fine? As for aftercare, I again ask those questions to ensure that the submissive is in a good space. They don't have any scarring, any bruising. I like to rub them down, sometimes with ice, sometimes with the balm that I spoke of earlier. That's the gist. Do you need a moment? Let me get your chair.
So we got a few announcements. So we got a question from the audience.
Okay.
You ain't gotta look, I got it. So the question is, two questions in one. Can you elaborate on the hot and cold feeling around ADHD in regards to kink and sex?
Can you ask the question one more time?
So you mentioned being hot and cold
Yes.
earlier. When it came to earlier
Yes.
regarding your ADHD, correct?
Yes.
How can you relate that to your ADHD?
Okay. Well, with that hot and cold, there are times when I simply don't want to be bothered with humanity outside of my responsibilities. And with the hot and cold, it allows me to build relationships and at my own pace. It allows me a space to deal with it when I want to deal with it. And often those that play within our community, within the kink community, they have an understanding that we're oftentimes in other relationships, we have other things going on. And so it actually helps me balance my relationships.
That's deep. I didn't know you was that deep. Well, now, thank you. So now it's time for the parts that how people can interact with us. It's time for the announcements, the church announcements. So just here we go. So this week, Link Up Chicago is doing a game night with Momentum Coffee off of 22nd and State.
By Reggie's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Let me tell you, that's a nice little site. It's free food. They got some free drinks. So what you do is you go earlier during the day to the Link Up Chicago event from 5 to 9. So then after you leave that, what you need to do is come on to the north side, and Onyx Midwest is having our by night. The theme is jocks versus nerds. We'll be at Cell Block from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Find you a good spot to park. Get you a nice little drink if you're a drinker. It's a couple of little restaurants you could get a little meal and you'll enjoy yourself. Then we got a couple more announcements. Hey, look, it's the Wellness Circle. All you need to do is scan it, and you need to get on the app. We got a whole app for the Wellness Circle. Wellness Circle is just a whole bunch of people who are working together in our communities to help elevate the community. I'm telling you, you'll love it. You'll love the app. I got the app. I was one of the first peoples. you got some any questions regarding the wellness circle, what you need to do is hit tbarber at projectvita.org. Are there any more church announcements? Well, ain't no more announcements. You done got me in headspace. Done had me trying to get back to reality. We done talked about kink and wellness. Well, I just want you. Listen, y'all see this box? Scan this, scan it. Get your test in the mail. Get the box. Scan it. Get the test. Get the box. And if you can't get the box and you in the little village community, come on down to Project Vita. I'm telling you, you'll enjoy yourself. They do a whole bunch of stuff here. They do
It's more than just a
acupuncture.
box.
You get your STI test. You will love it. And that is it for us today. Peace of love, peace of blessings. We'll see you next month on the third Sunday. Bye, y'all.